Hello, good morning. I'm Pearl Howie, and this is Amazon advertising for books. And so I was and am a publishing consultant and editor, and I help people with their books. And I started doing that in at the end of 2017, and I was doing it up until the beginning of 2020 when everything exploded and it all changed. So I still do that. And I've just been working with a, a client on publishing. And one of the things that happened was that in the past, when I was working with clients, I was always saying, we get to the end, we get the book published, everything be ready, and I'd say, right, and I think we need to do some uh, Amazon advertising, some campaigns to actually promote the book and get it out there and start selling it. And generally speaking, everybody would say no. And usually because by the time we actually publish the book, it's a really sort of emotional thing. And my way of working with people, you see, you might go out and see a lot of publishing companies. We used to call them vanity publishers, and we don't really call them that anymore. People like myself who will work with somebody to publish their book, and our job is not to judge the book. Most of the time, I will always say if I feel a book is, crosses the line and isn't working, but to really to support somebody to publish the book that they want to publish. And it's not for me ever about figuring out if it's commercial or not. As a traditional publisher would do, they want to know, is it going to be selling lots of copies? My thing is really that I know that it is, a lot of people, it is one of their dreams, one of their bucket list dreams, their life dreams, to publish a book. And honestly, when I'm working with people who are, say, speakers, or trainers or teachers, usually what I say to them, you've probably already written a book already, in terms of writing your teaching materials, writing your talks, your keynotes, things like that. So most people already have, um, written much of the content, or if they haven't written it, they've said it out loud so many times. And it's really about capturing that. And for me, it's always about helping people who have the quality, they've got the quality, they've got the content, but it's just the challenge of actually getting it into a book and being an author. And I remember I went to the Jericho's Festival of Writing, which is great, and I recommend you check out Jericho Writers. And I remember when I went there, and I'd written quite a lot of books, quite a lot of books at that point, and I was terrified. And so many people who I met there, who either they would publish several books, they had an agent, they could have, they could have an agent, they could have a publisher ready to publish their next book, and they're always like, oh, I'm not really an author, I'm not really a writer, I'm not really an author. And I honestly, it's crazy. Like I always say, like in terms of, because I work with fear of success, I think writing is one of those things that we find the hardest, even though in some ways it's the easiest nowadays because we've got all the tools and we can really publish, on Amazon. We've got the freedom, we've got the power to do it. And yet we get stuck in this whole, oh, should I publish a book? Is it good enough? Am I good enough? All this stuff. So really, I wanted to be a writer when I was a kid, and I struggled with it, fought myself with it so many times. And I'm very happy that I now have like so many books out there. And I love helping people to get to that point as well, because we build up such resistance to it. People who are so capable and so excellent, such great writers, and who, really good at managing all the computer stuff as well, everything, and yet we kind of hold ourselves back. So I love working with that because it's been one of my biggest fears of success, is to get my books out there. Anyway, so as I said, way back when I was doing it, and I would say to people, oh, we should do some Amazon advertising. And they were often exhausted, like emotionally exhausted at that point. And one of the things that happened with a client I was just working with, last week, was she said about Amazon advertising, and I went a bit, like that. I didn't really want to teach it. I didn't really want to like consult with her about that. And because I deal with fear of success, I have to look into myself and say, okay, what's going on for me? And why am I finding Amazon advertising so challenging? And I'm going to show you. I'm actually going to show you. So I can tell you, but I can show you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do some screen sharing and show you. And what I want to do is show you how easy it is and how complicated it is. And I think what I'm going to do today is just do a real bite-size campaign. I'm going to set up a new campaign, and I'm going to do it in a very small way, different way to what I have done before, and we'll just experiment, and I'm going to see if that works, okay? And I'll walk you through. Right, so let me share my screen, and we're going to go over to, oh, it's decided to lose it for me. Thank you very much. We don't want that. Okay, let me go over to find what I want. That's what it's on a different page. So I'm going over to Google, find the document that I want. Let's come back here. Zoom, zoom, zoom. We love Zoom. Let's close that for I actually want typical. Okay, let's go back to screens. Yeah, there we go. Lovely jubbly. All right. Okay, so you should now be seeing my screen, and this is my Kindle Direct Publishing bookshelf. Now, Amazon's huge. Kindle Direct Publishing is part of that. They use a lot of different words like Audible. You've got KDP, which is basically Kindle Direct Publishing. It all belongs to Amazon. It's all part of the huge Amazon machine. So when I say I've got a lot of books, get ready, guys. Watch. These are some of my books, and you can see at the bottom we've got 6 pages of that. Now I've actually got more books than that because some of them I've retired because there are different versions. So my book on healing, I've done 7 editions of that. So the last one, I think that might be the last one for the moment because I published that just before COVID, or about a year before COVID, and of course everything's changed. I'm not going to rewrite the book because it took years and thousands of pounds to travel around the world and research it. So that can just stay as a moment in time, and a lot of it is still valid and some of it might not be because of COVID. So also I have some books over on Lulu, which is another publishing platform, but we're not going to get into that right now. As I say, we want to go in to look at Amazon advertising. And I could call it, they often call it different things. Now, I want to really promote one book because I want to just run one campaign. And what I would say is you can increase and you can do campaigns for different books, obviously one at a time, but let's just focus on, I'm just going to focus on the one that's kind of quite important to me, and I would say this is Fear of Success. So it's not my best-selling book. It's probably, so it is good if you can keep a track of your sales separate from Amazon. They'll give you all reports and things like that, so you can see if you're selling like audiobooks and videos and things like that. So let's see, Fear of Success is my like number 7 seller. It's my number 7 seller. But it's one I'm very passionate about because I feel it's like the one that feeds into everything else. Excuse me if I drink some tea while I'm doing this. Okay. So, and that's okay. You know, you don't, very often people will have books that they love, writers will have books that they love, and then you'll have other books that are bestsellers, similarly to actors, you know, or directors, and you'll have one film that goes nuts and everybody loves it, but you actually have another film that you love as well. But I'm just going to go with this one because it's the one I'm looking at this morning, and okay. So as you see, this book, we have a Kindle book and we have a paperback as well. It doesn't really matter how I go into the advertising because I'm going to have all resources there, but it can be useful when I'm looking at it, if I've got lots of versions, to make sure that I'm going in on the right version. Okay, so let's go in, and if I come over here, I get promote and advertise, and it's going to be the same with the paperback version over here. So we're just going to go into promote and advertise. Okay, lovely jubbly. Okay, I'm going to show you another way to promote and advertise in another video. Maybe this morning, maybe another time. Okay, so here we go. I've got the option to launch a sponsored products campaign. Okay, I'm just going to go back one step. All right, and I'm going to go in a different way and see if that's different. I'll show you why. Okay. No. Okay. I'm getting a sponsored product campaign. I'm going to go to Campaign Builder and I can choose. Now, what's really good is that Amazon before you had to choose your marketplace at this point and then you couldn't look at other things. You had to go back out and come back in. And now you seem to be able to do it. But let's start with, am I going to promote in the UK or am I going to promote in the US? And as you can see, I've got a lot of choices here of different countries. So that's Germany, France, Italy, Spain. Now, is that Canada? I think that's Canada. Australia, I think it's India, Mexico, that's Japan, and that's the Netherlands, I believe. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. When I first started doing these advertising things, you could only advertise in the States in .com. Okay, am I going to do it in .com or .co.uk? Let's go for the daddy. Let's go for .com. All right. And we go to Campaign Builder. Right, that's good. Now, so again, I have a little video that's quite popular on YouTube, and it's you cannot step into the same river twice, and it feels like that way with Amazon as well. With all of the stuff, it's changing so fast that every time you go in, it's a little bit different. Which, when you're a consultant and when you're teaching people this stuff, makes you look bad because you come in and you go, oh, it's all changed, because it's always changing. So that's always the way. So this is a sponsored brand. Now, it looks like you're saying I'm not eligible for this, which is fine. I'm quite happy with that. I know if I go in with different books, it will give me this option. And that's one of the Amazon magic things where it decides it's going to tell you this, tell you that. So basically, in this one, you're going to be promoting your brand, okay, as opposed to your specific book. I think I'm quite happy to leave that here and not do that. Let's look at eligibility. Eligibility. So it helps readers discover and engage with your brand as an author. Da, 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 yeah. So you can have a read through that. I mean, there's so much you could read on here. So, okay. But I'm going to go to sponsor products. And what that is I'm going to promote a product to shoppers. I'm reading this out, actively searching with related keywords or viewing similar products. Okay. So this is the one I always used to do. And I want to show you something. So you're going to go in and, okay, actually, I say, I'm going to show you something and I say, go back to campaigns. Let's close that for a second. I want to leave that page. I don't want to set this campaign up just yet because I want to show you something. So I'm going to go over here to the sidebar and you can see this is my sort of history on here. So I go to admin. I want to see, measurement and reporting. So they keep adding more things on here. What I really want to see, which I was just looking at a minute ago, and I'm like, where's it gone? Where's it gone? I actually want to see my history on here. Oh, okay, there we go. Sponsored ad reports. And it's like, it's got my home on there as well. So, no, it's reports. That's not what I wanted. I'm sure you find this all the time. You go in and you go, where's that thing that I was looking at? This is my sponsored ads. Let's go to campaign manager. Okay. All right. So it's telling me it's been paused because I've got a billing issue in Australia. I don't think I have a problem in Australia, I'll be honest with you. So, and I'm sure that if I had money to Amazon at all, they'd be coming after me. So I've updated my payment method already. When you set this up, you will obviously have to set up a payment method. When you go into this, often it's going to ask you to keep putting your login in and keep giving you what it calls a one-time password. So it will text you a code to put in. It's just being cautious for security, like a bank, which is good because, you know, with Amazon advertising, you can spend a lot of money. So it needs to keep checking when you're setting it up that it's definitely you. Okay, so that's, I don't mind that. That's a good security thing. Oh, I do not have an unpaid invoice. It's annoying me. Right, if I do, it's for 0p. Okay, so actually, this is quite a good thing to see. So one of my when I looked into like why am I so hesitant about doing Amazon advertising when my friend suggested, my client suggested last week, um, was I looked at I actually, if you can see, this is my history with Amazon advertising. So I started in July 2019. Things are going pretty good. I'm doing my publishing consultancy, and if for nothing else, I want to explore and work with Amazon advertising so I can advise my clients, so I can help my clients if and when they choose to do some Amazon advertising. Um, and so what happened, as you can see, is hey, this is pretty good. I'm actually making quite a lot of sales. All right. And then this thing happened, which was COVID. And you can see that it is nothing has ever recovered really from that. Okay. Um, this is all the campaigns. So you can see, so what you can see here is you can see the number of clicks, about 11,000 clicks, which is not a lot really for Amazon, but that's cost me about um, $1,900. Okay, so you could do the maths with that. And then you look over here, that sold 386 books. Yeah, it's not too bad. And so that's my sales. And if you look at that, you say, oh, well, actually, you've made a loss because you've lost more money there. Now, the reason I'm not worried about that, and I know that overall I made a profit, was because that is just the books I sold on Amazon. So Amazon, with their listings, is also going to have the other books that I sell on platforms like Lulu. It's also going to include things like audiobooks on Audible. So it doesn't include that in the sales. Okay. So I know as I was tracking it each month that I was actually making a profit. And also, don't forget, at this time, I was doing a lot of publishing consultancy. So it was really great for me to be doing this and making the sales. Even if I wasn't making a huge profit, I was learning how to use Amazon advertising, and I could advise other people how to set up their campaigns. And also, it made me look good. It made me look good as an author, that my books were always in the bestseller chart. So that was, really good in terms of having a business that was a bit more than being an author. And that's the same. So, for example, if you're a motivational speaker, if you do business training, if you want your book to also be representing you in the world, that could be very, very useful in terms of promoting yourself. Okay, but I would always like to be a financially successful author, in the sense of that I don't want to be spending more on my advertising than on my sales. So even though this says I have spent more money on my sales, on my spend than my sales, it's not actually the full picture. So I was actually making more money elsewhere. So I was actually looking over here. Let's see my history. Yeah, now this is a great graphic, and you can really see this. So this is where you're looking at, you've really just got the two lines, and you can see the sales is the blue line and the cost of sales is the red line. And you can see what a lovely time I was having over here. From when I started, I started spending a certain amount of money. Was that probably spending about, see, this is the over here, the cost over here. So I probably started off, okay, I started off a bit high over here because I didn't really know what I was doing and I was getting started. And what you can do is you refine your campaign, so you can kind of like change settings so that hopefully the things that are working stay and you get rid of the things that aren't working. But as you can see, I was spending probably maybe $200 a month to start with, which is quite a lot. And then the cost of my advertising went down, but my sales were going up because I'd mastered it. And then if you look at the date over here, that would be the 1st of March 2020, about 5 years ago. And you can see what happened to the sales. Okay, and you can see I was continuing to advertise, but the market just went hoodoo and I'm gone. And then you can see over here, so I would have paused the advertising, panic, let's stop advertising here. Right, that's enough. No more advertising. And it's not, you can see you're not spending a huge amount. So for example, over here, maybe I was saying maybe $149 and spending, do you know what? I'm just looking at this and I'm thinking it's my two axes are not showing up correctly. So as you can see, this, if I did this correctly, this would be much higher. Sorry about that. You know what? You look at it, you think, actually, you're kind of tricking me here, Amazon. You are, because if you see, my sales is going up to $200 here, okay, on the left-hand side. You see over here. This is my axis is going up 200 over here. And my cost of sales over here is going at 480. Oh, and I am a mathematician. I have a degree in maths and it tricked me. Look at that, naughty, isn't it? So I'm looking at it and it's showing me, oh, look, you're making lots of money. Actually, I probably wasn't. Let's have another look at this and I'm going to change this out. So that's my cost of sales. Let's have a look. So that's my spend and that's my sales, okay? So if I do that, again, it's not really playing fair on the axes, okay? Because let's have a look over here. So my spend would be $263, my sales were looking 160. And if I look at that graph, it looks like it's about the same. It's so not the same. You have to be very careful with these tricky people at Amazon. They do like to mess you. This is like investment when they say, oh, you've done really well, you've only lost this much money. No. But when I was tracking it, I was tracking each month my sales in Lulu as well, so it wasn't too bad. So actually, this is a different, you can see the different look. So this is my spend and my sales. And my sales never really matched the spend. Is it worth it? That's a very, very good question. We'll see. If you see, some months it is. So this metric, the ACOS, which is now showing me in a different thing. It's actually going to do that. I'm going to do the spend and the ACOS. So this is the advertising cost of sales. So we look at the percentage. We want this to be under 100%. Okay. So we can say at this point I'm spending. So over here, before COVID, I'm actually still spending too much money. So I'm spending twice as much money as I'm getting in returns. Over here, about 100%. Yeah, so you can see it's going up. All right, so actually, if I look over here, no, even though, so you see over here, like this is the actual amount I was spending, and I went right down. So I went right down over here and reduced my spend way down because we were during COVID. And then I got fed up and decided to stop. So I'm not spending anything over here. Mind you, it keeps telling me I'm still spending money. Oh no, this is until 2023. So I haven't been doing it for about a year. Okay, so yeah, this is all quite complicated. And I think what I really want to do is say, guess what, guys, this looks really complicated. The important thing is it's like gambling. You know, like stocks and shares are gambling. This is gambling. I'm just going to stop the share for 1 second so I can talk to you for a second because I know it's a bit much. So you might have seen that and gone, oh, and that is what happens when you're looking at like stocks and shares. And, you know, they do a tricky thing there where they put the two axes on either side and they're not quite equal. So it looks like you're making money, but you're not really making money. So as I say, before you start setting something up and before you put any money into it, think of it like gambling. You know, you're going to Vegas and you're going to put some money on the table, and if you get the money back, that's great. If not, it's lost. So make sure you really set your budget. Okay. Same thing as anything you're doing in business where you're trying to get work. I did something recently, some kind of advertising, and I thought I'll give it a go, and I had a go, and I've learned a lot about that particular market. I think it's quite interesting, but overall, I don't think I'm going to spend that money again because, but the thing is, when I go in to use up the credits that I've still got left in it, it's always pushing me to buy more credits. And I'm like, nah, I don't think so. I don't think. And it's very tricky. You've got to be very careful. It's, as I say, just like gambling, just like stocks and shares. People want you to put in good money after bad. All right. I don't regret any of the money I spent on Amazon advertising because, it kept things going. And also I was making a bit of money with Lulu and things like that. I think I just stopped because I just felt, so personally I suffer from migraines, and also, you can see looking at these screens can be a little bit much. So I think I just felt like I couldn't manage it. And as you can see, my spend was very low and it wasn't really doing me any good. So this to me, it's a step forward, because it's actually about, I always say, fear of success is when you get out of feeling like a victim and you start to feel like a survivor. And so for me, anytime I'm doing anything that I haven't been able to do or hasn't been successful since COVID, I'm like, going in and I'm going to reclaim this and sort of like take back that feeling. So whether or not it works or not, I don't know, but I'm going to give it a go and sort of think about building up that business as an author, as a seller of books again, because I was selling quite a lot of books before COVID hit, but then because I had travel books, yeah, not so much. So market gone. All right, let's go back over here. I'm going to share that screen again, where we were at. Okay, don't worry, I'm not going to make you look at more charts like that. So let's go over to campaigns. I don't have any campaigns running at the moment, so it's a nice clean slate. When you come in, obviously go to administration. It will make you set up billing, and that's fine. Okay, so let's set up a campaign. What recommendations? Let's have a look at that. Okay, I've got no new recommendations. So, but I'm just going to create a campaign. All right. And I'm going to create a sponsored product campaign. So I'm focusing on one product. As you say, with the brand, looks like I can showcase several products. I think, you know what? Let's leave that for the moment. Okay, we're going to come in here. All right, so this is my ad for, this is all the information I need to set up a campaign. If it doesn't keep throwing me out because of that, the thing it says I have in Australia, which I don't have. So the one thing I'm going to say, let's go in and let's go to the bottom. And before I do anything else, I want to set up my budget. All right, so they put it at the bottom. I think so you forget about it. You do have to set it up. Oh look, and again, you've got help everywhere, which is how to set up your campaign. Da, 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 da. So it's just basically saying set up start and end budget, set your daily budget, and choose your targeting strategy. Yeah. Okay, so let's call this, it's fear of success that I want to focus on. And I've decided I'm going to do it differently this time. I'll show you a little bit about how we can do it. And I've decided to do it differently in a way that I haven't done before, to see if it's useful. So mine is actually, I'm going to position my book next to another one that is very famous. I thought, let's try that. And so let's call this, I'm going to call this, so I want to be sitting next to kind of my hero. So let's call it heroes. Okay, so I'm going to call it, actually, I'm going to call it, yeah. Yeah. I'm going to call it heroine, because she is a heroine rather than a hero. So I'm going to call it that, and let's call it one, just in case I decide to do another one. All right, so am I going to set up an end date? I think I'm just going to leave no end date, because I can always come back and pause it. All right, and I want to set up a daily budget. Now, a lot of people will tell you when you set up your Amazon advertising, you can set up a really high budget because you're never going to use it. Well, I have hit my daily budgets before, so I would say literally set it up like a boundary, like a budget. So here we got, many authors choose to start advertising with a daily budget of £10, $10 per day. That's a tip. I'm going to say no to that, because that will be $300 in a month. Yeah, so it's $300 a month. I really want to spend about a tenth of that. But I'm gonna not play it that safe. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up a daily budget of $2. Okay. So that's a $60 budget for the month. All right. And I'm going to assume that I could lose, or I'm going to spend about half of that. But if it uses the full budget, that's okay. $60, I'm okay. That's how much money I am taking to the casino to spend on my advertising. All right. So I'm happy there. I've set up a campaign name. It's going to start today. It's going to be in the US, and it's going to be a daily budget of $2. Okay. Right. So let's make some more decisions. Do I want custom text or do I want a standard ad? Okay. Let's choose standard ad for the moment. Okay. Um, as you can see, when you change it, it's going to give you a whole new stuff. All right, so that's my custom text. So it's going to give me this thing down the bottom where I choose my custom text here. Let's look at what a standard ad looks like. Okay, standard ad. Click down here. Da, da, da. Is it going to give me an option? No. So one of the benefits of doing a standard ad, and you'll notice this when you come over. So when I go to Amazon and I go to books, so I go to books and this is the book I'm looking at and I want to kind of set my campaign up around. Okay, this is my previously viewed. Okay, I'm looking over here and this is the book I want to say target, and I'll tell you why and why I haven't done it before as well. I don't really like the idea of positioning, competing with somebody with a book, because I thought it seems a bit like, trying to steal somebody's business. But then today I was thinking, you know what, this book was the first self-help book I wrote, and also I wrote to Susan Jeffers and she was really supportive. And I was thinking, when I was looking at keywords, one of the problems with my book, Fear of Success, Pearl Escape's Fear of Success, is that word fear, and people don't really like that word. But then I thought, you know what, if people are looking at this book, they're not going to be worried about fear, are they? And in actually, what was a negative in terms of advertising it in other places can be a positive here, because if you look at all these other books here, how many of them say fear? Not really. So actually, my book is more similar to Susan Jeffers in that sense that it's, we're talking about fear. And I love her writing. I think her writing has influenced mine, in the sense that I like to try and write really simply so people can follow it. And I also, my stuff is quite practical, but also a little bit spiritual and woo-woo. So I think actually, readers of her book I think will like my book. And also it's kind of next level, because we're talking about, where does this fear come from? So her book really talks about fear, and that's really, I say that's really great. Okay, in fact, I'm just thinking about a different book as well that might be really useful. So what I was going to say, you've got a standard advert. So looking at a standard advert, if you can see here, these are all standard adverts. Okay, and what's up here is this little word, it's very tiny, it says sponsored. So it's going to show products related to this item. So when people look at this book, which is just a brilliant, brilliant book, and I have about 3 copies between here and my mum's house, and I've read so many of the other books, it's going to suggest my book to people. Okay, and that's what the advertising is going to do. So in that sense, that's really simple. And I'm thinking, you know what, I've spent hours and hours and hours doing campaigns, and this could be a really simple one. Okay, so, and you can see, so what I'm actually going to do here, what I did before is actually copy the ASIN, which is the Amazon number. And so that's really going to help me when I go in to make sure that I'm referring it against the right book. And you can see it's got great customer reviews, lovely, better than mine. And even though this is a really old book, so it's saying 2014, it's much older than that. I don't know when the original was published. I mean, it's practically the 70s, 80s. I mean, I think we've had the 25-year anniversary when Susan Jeffers was still alive. She's passed away now, so I think probably about maybe 1990 it was published, and it's still, really at the top of the chart. So it'll be. And what I like about this book is it crosses the line, and I think my book does too, in that it's a business book. It's not specifically about business, but it has a big implication, and life, business, whatever. But at the same time, it's also big in self-esteem and self-help. So it's a perennial. We like this one. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, as again, you see, look, these are not based on my recent views. This is just all based on the fact that this is Susan Jeffers' book. Okay, and it's I like the reviews are going to be like it's straightforward. It's this that, and I'm like, yeah, okay. All right. So let's go back to the advertising. So I'm going to do a standard ad because I think that's going to work quite well there. Do I want ad group settings? I don't know. Should we give it a name? Let's say I'm going to call this like getting getting on the shelf. So what I want to do with this now, if you don't know, a lot of big book stores will actually, where you go in and you see the books are on the sort of bestseller chart, that's paid for. That's paid, they paid to get the book on the shelf next to the one that everyone's already buying. So, and it's kind of, I don't like the fact that I know that because you sort of think that it's all going to be, oh, the bookstores are putting the best books out. No, they're being paid for that. So this is a way of doing that. And I think one of the big things, being English, often we don't want to pay for anything and we don't want to do this. And I don't mean that in a cheap way. I mean, we feel that things should be earned, that if something's on the bestseller shelf, it should be there because it's actually a bestseller. But there's a lot of, of a lot of money that goes on behind the scenes. All right, so we've got this. So these are my products. Okay, so I'm going to show you something. So automatic targeting will target, so it will choose keywords to target shoppers. Yeah. And so I can actually just do this without really getting into it. Okay. I can also do negative product targeting over here. So I can say, I do not want my stuff to show up next to this. And you can do that if you've got, say, something very similar to yours and you say, no, I don't want that. Okay. So this is a keyword. So this is my automatic program. I don't want to do this. I want to do manual targeting. All right. And when I go to manual targeting, I've got a choice here of, so I'll just go back 1 second. Automatic targeting, let's say you've got your bids. We'll look at that in a moment. And here you can choose anything you don't want. Negative keywords, negative products. Okay. All right. So you're taking away what you do want and you're just putting in what you don't want. So that's, with manual targeting, I'm going to be able to say what I do want. All right. So with the keywords, I could go over here. Now it's not giving me any suggestions. And the reason for that is I have not chosen any books yet. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this in a weird way. I'm going to do, let me target the book. All right. It's not, is it going to let me do that? Let's see if I can do that. So I'm going to search for Susan Jeffers' book. Yeah, there we go. There's a book that I want to target. Now I'm going to add this. Don't click on the book itself because it will just take you back over here to this. All right. I do it all the time and it's so annoying because then I'm like, oh, I'm going to go back. All right. So it's telling me it's out of stock, which is weird. All right. So it won't have a suggested bid. All right. I'm going to go back. I'm going to say don't add target. Where it says out of stock, I'm like, hang on a second. And I can go back over here and say, actually, I know it's in stock. What it might be is that it's just not fulfilled by Amazon. So they can do a sneaky thing sometimes where they say things are out of stock because they want you to buy the things that they fulfill. All right. Okay, so let me go back over here. Okay. Stop sharing a minute. I'm just going to give you a little moment of FaceTime and say it's okay. I know it's a lot. There's a lot of categories. Most important thing, go to the bottom, set your bid. Set your budget. Okay, can't go wrong then. I went to Vegas. I walked around Vegas. I went into all the places and I didn't spend any money on gambling because I was scared I would start gambling because it's all set up there. Go to Vegas and the whole thing is set up to make you gamble. Okay. I didn't spend any money. I didn't do any gambling except when I was at the airport and I was about to leave and I had $1 in my hand and I put it in a machine. So I could say I gambled in Vegas, but, so my granddad, what he used to do when we were kids, we used to go to the fun fair where they have a penny arcade. and he would give us money. They would give us money to go off and do rides and things like that, which we did. And then we would end up in the penny arcade where you're putting, slot machines, putting stuff in. And we would always lose all our money because that's what it's designed for. It's designed to take your money. Okay. Um, and so set your budget, whatever it is. If you lose it, you lose it. It's fine. It's just school, what we call school fees. Okay. So as you can see, I've got no recommendations here. And the reason for that, in terms of bid price or anything like that, the reason is I haven't chosen which of my products I want to show on that bookshelf. All right, next to this book with all the other contenders, with this bit over here, go down, and I've got all these books that are telling me this. Okay, so some of them you can see. See what I quite like about this is if you look, and you can kind of see by the reviews. This one's got 9 reviews. Okay, it's very good. 9 reviews, 5 stars. With no disrespect to Patrick King, the chances are all those 9 reviews are his mates. And I'm sorry about that, but it's the truth because it's what people tell you to do. When you start selling a book, you're going to come over and here's another one, 26 reviews, all 5 stars. I'm not to say that I have masses and masses of reviews, but one thing you'll see about my books is they're not always 5 stars, which means they're real. Somebody actually, so really if you've got something that's again, you've got 4 stars here, sorry, 5 stars, it's for is that real or is that not? And then you come to, as you say, you come back up to Susan Jeffers, and what you'll see is it's got 8,820 ratings. So yeah, a 4.5. That's good. That's good. I will tell you that's close to my rating for videos on Udemy. You're not Udemy. Udemy more. No, Udemy. So yeah, there we go. So let's come back up, and I'm going to say, where's my book? Where's my book that I want? Okay, let's go to fear. Da 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 da. Let's talk about fear. Oh, it's case sensitive. All right. Okay, so I need to do with the capital. All right. Okay, so as you see, I've got a lot of books. As you know, they're genuine. Look, 1 star, 1 review, 1 star. Cheers, love. Thanks ever so. But that's okay. So these are paperback and ebook. Right. As I can say, I know that those books, when they were videos, were getting a 4 and 5 star rating, so I can have water off ducks back. Also, when you teach people about fear, they don't particularly like it. All right, so here we go. So we've got my fear of success here. So we've actually got quite a few here. So do I want to add more than one? Let's go over here. Look at it. So this is, I've chosen the ASIN, right? So I am competing. I want to get this on the bookshelf for the Kindle edition. All right. Do I want it on the bookshelf for the Kindle edition? That's a good question. It's got the paperback. So I can look around and say, is this exactly what I want? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? I don't know. The reason I'm thinking about this is what we have to think about with the price and the cost of it all is what is the profit that I'm going to make. So over here you can see that this Kindle book is selling for $7.99, which I saw somebody the other day complaining. They were like, oh, how can you sell a Kindle for $7.99? Well, the reason being is that you're spending a load on advertising it. So you have to recoup that money. So you have to put the price of your book up to cover the cost of the advertising. What I've also got over here, so I've got the paperback and that kind of thing. So look, let me go over here and let me have a look at my books a bit. Okay, so we're going to go to Amazon. Let's actually just go down here. So, all right. So I've got, so the paperback is $9.50 and the Kindle edition is $177. So I've made it the cheapest it can be. I think I might have to put the price up in order to run a campaign. Now, the good thing about putting the price up when you run a campaign is it gives Amazon more incentive to sell your book because then they make more profit as well. So let's have a look, and I can change the price on there when I finish this, because it's not gonna suddenly go, ooh, send everything out this second. All right. So this is different. So that's a paperback. You know, the thing is, don't worry too much, because when somebody's going to look at it, is it paperback, is it a hardback, and then they might sort of change it. So here you can see on this list, the choices are, it's showing paperback, hardback, Kindle, paperback, hardback, Kindle, and it might also show an audiobook as well. So let's not worry too much about that. Because basically what I want is people to see the book, and then they'll go and look at it, and then they will choose what they want to buy based on what they buy, if they're a paperback reader or if they're not. So let's go back over here and say it does not really matter. So let's do it. Let's do it. What we're going to do is, okay, here's what I'm going to do. So if I look down, I haven't got any prices on here. Okay, let's add this book, Fear of Success. Okay, $2.99 Kindle with 4 reviews. Let's go. I've got my manual targeting. I'm targeting this. So I've got a suggested bid over here. So this bid is like what it's roughly going to charge me to show that. I'm probably making £1 or $1 on that book. So I'm only going to be able to afford to show up once there. As I say, even though people are going to choose what they're going to choose. Let's add another one, see what happens. So if I add that one, so I can add more than one product. It doesn't change anything to the bid price. Let's add another one. And is that going to change my bid price? It's gone down actually by 1 cent. Okay. Let's add another one. Okay, so these are my first Get Fear of Success. And it's gone back up again. Wonder why. So what do I want to do with that? That is quite a lot of money because that's a hardback. And this is kind of taking it down. I've got 40, I don't know why that's putting it up there. But what it did seem to say, it doesn't really like this one. And I'm guessing that's because it might be a Lulu book. So I'm going to take that out. And we're just going to have those. And it's showing it 64 cents. I'm just going to do a thing and just try and see what happens if I take that one out. Doesn't make any difference. I'm sorry, take that one out. It's going up. Okay, so let's put that one back in. And so basically, I'm just looking at different versions of the same book. And so those are all done via Amazon. And at the moment, so I'm probably going to have to go and review my pricing, because at the current pricing, I can't really afford to pay for this advertising campaign because I'm not making enough of a margin. All right, so I'm just going to go, let's choose that one. Let's add here. All right, so I've got my Feel the Fear and do it anyway. So it's saying here, so the suggested bid, it's got, the minimum bid is about 48 cents for that book. So, on a good day, I could probably get that on the bookshelf for 48 cents. Okay, all right. I would normally say it takes about maybe about 5 or 6 to 10 views for somebody to actually buy your book. But it depends, because obviously I think that number really went up during COVID. So what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Do I want to add any more of that? No, I think I'm all right with that. I think I'll do it. But what I want to do is maybe I want to reduce that bid price. Now with bids, so for example, so if I'm making $1 and I think it's going to be 5, oh, it's telling me I'm using $20. I don't want $20. Of course I don't. I want 20 cents. All right, let's do 20 cents. Okay. So at that price, I am not going to get anything showing up. All right, I've bid too low. But what I can do is I can go down here and I can say in my bidding strategy. So what I've got is I've got 3 choices here. So dynamic bids means that Amazon is going to change my bid by up to 100%. and lower it. So it's going to play around with my bids. So it can increase up to double. So I've set 20 cents, it will bid up to 40 cents. Okay. You also have the option of going down only. So if you want, you could set it higher and then Amazon will drop that bid to when it doesn't think people are being serious. Okay. And then you've got your fixed bid, which means I'm just going to bid that amount. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make adjustments down here. So I've got bid adjustments. Oh, this is new and it's complicated. We don't like, well, it's not new. Actually, the business bit is new. Okay, so what we're saying here is, okay, so I'm going to bid 20 cents, right? And I have allowed dynamic bids. So that means that Amazon is going to bid up to 40 cents. And that's kind of still below what we need to do that. So I'm being quite cautious in this. And then here's what I'm going to do is I can increase my bid if I go top of the search. So I want to be top of the search. I want to be top of the search. Or I want to be on the product pages. I quite like being on the product pages actually. And then we've got other options, the rest of search. I don't know what that is actually. It gets a bit confusing at this point. Right, so at the moment, my maximum bid is 40 cents. All right. Do I want to increase that for those? Well, I don't really fancy it because I can't really be bothered. It doesn't mean to say your advert isn't going to show up on those pages. It just means, do I want to bid extra? Do I want to say, hey, actually, I really want to be at the top of the page? I could do that. I could not do that. Here we go. And I love that. It's like, here's the information. That's basically what I just said. But what's quite interesting, let's learn about bids by placement. Okay, I'm going to get a really bad migraine in a minute if I don't stop doing this. Let's go back. I mean, look, you can read that. There's a lot of stuff over here. Let's close that. I'm quite interested in this thing for business, all right? Because essentially fear of success is like feel the fear and do it anyway, and it affects people's business, especially if you're a small business owner or a titan of industry. I don't know what's wrong with my words today. Titan, you dare me. All right, let's do this. We go further increase bids across placements on Amazon Business. So, as you can see, it's saying here, advertisers see a 2 to 3 times higher return on ad spend on Amazon Business relative to the overall campaign performance. And you think, oh, actually, this could be somebody who's buying books for their company or their company library or for an event. And speaking as a speaker, as a motivational speaker, a lot of the money is coming from business. So people will pay you a lot of money for what you know. Okay, and my book is an inspirational book. So we can always click on here and say, learn a bit more about Amazon Business. Oh, that's a bit much. Let's do this. Da, 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 da. Oh no, I'm not going to do that. That's too much. That's too much today. We're just doing a little bit, okay? So, but I feel like increasing my bid on Amazon and see. So it's saying 2 to 3 times higher returns. So I could increase it. At the moment, I'm paying 40 cents. Okay. Do I want to go more than that? I could always change that higher. But I've got to think about what my margin is going to be. So say if I'm spending 40 cents and it takes 5 clicks for somebody to buy my book, then I need to be making $2 a book. So what I'm going to have to do when I finished here is I'm going to have to go and make sure that my margin is at least $2 in the States. Or I could make it higher than that. And the other thing I have to do is then I have to increase my pricing on my paperback, on my other books, because when people click on it, they're going to buy the book that they want. So if somebody likes ebooks, they're going to buy the ebook. If they want a paperback, they're going to buy the paperback. It's not about what you advertise. It's about they will buy the audiobook if they like listening to audiobooks. So then I need to make sure I'm making at least $2. So at the moment, if I set my margin at 5 times, 6 times is usually better. So I should be making $2.40. That's quite a lot of money And then also, if I do that, I'm still not making any profit because I'm spending it all on advertising. Okay, I really hope people understand why I'm doing this as a video, because then I only have to do it once. You can say, here you go, watch the video. Okay, do I want to increase it on Amazon? I kind of do. How much do I want to increase it? So it's 40 at the moment. So if I increase it by, say, 25%, wow. So if I do that, it's going to show up at 50 cents. All right. It's still going to be not enough. So basic, I'm just scraping through there. And that's okay because I can set this, I can go back in a week and change it and I can increase that because I'm doing this in a really cautious way. You know, you might say, I've got $1,000 to spend on advertising and you want to spend it and you want to go in and make, you know, promote and launch the book. This is not a book launch. My book has been out for a while. So I'm not feeling that. I'm feeling this is very much a dip. If you do my authentic success your way, or the practical trainings for fear of success, you'll know doing a dip is when you dip your toe in and you decide if you like it or not. So I've set it quite low, maybe too low, and I'm comfortable with that because I can always go back and increase it. That's absolutely fine. And chances are it might not show up at all, but this gives me a chance. And then if I get annoyed that it hasn't shown up, I haven't spent any money, I can go back and increase it. So it's telling me I should set a daily budget of $12. I'm like, no, go away. I don't want to do it. So my maximum bid at the moment is 50 cents. 50 cents. Sounds quite good. All right. So I'm actually going to launch that campaign. So we're going to do this. Let's see if it works. We launch the campaign. Tells me you still owe money in Australia. Don't. Honestly, I don't. All right. So they're going to process it. All right. It was telling me my default bid is $75.75. I might have to go back and edit that. Let's have a look. Let's go back to edit this campaign. Don't like the fact it says that. That's my budget. Manual targeting. There we go. See, look, it doesn't seem to have captured that increase in bid. So not delivering. So yeah, all this, and then you go, right, I can add a budget role. So basic, this is if I want to increase my spending on different times. I've got it as running all day. You can set it to run only at certain times. So that would have been more useful when people were only buying books sort of in the evening. I'm going to cancel that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to set budget rule. What I want to do is I want to go back to my campaign. See, I wonder, it gets a bit scary when it does this and you're like, hang on, I just set this and now it's saying, right. Yeah, so it's got my bid adjustment there. That's fine. That's what I wanted. I've got that. That's fine. And this is another reason why I like to go cautiously. And let's look at the campaign settings. So it's not, I haven't got a portfolio set up here. Active. But it's not showing me my bid, which is really annoying. Adjust bids, settings. See, look, they've changed it all again. Where am I going? I've just done a really weird thing here. And I've got to set it up. Right, getting on the shelf. Let's go over here. So it's giving me a default bid, which is not what I wanted. Right, let's click on, okay. So I've got 3 books. It's pending review. What it's going to do, it's going to check those books and make sure my products are decent, that I'm not trying to sell something that I shouldn't be selling. Where's my targeting? Over here. Okay, so that is the bid that I've set up for what I want to do. Okay. So I know it's got my bid and that's fine. Okay. Now what I could do is I can add other product targets here. And actually, I'm going to set up another one, right? So even though it's basically saying your default bid is 75 cents. And I want to change that. So I'm going to, do I want to change it or leave it? So basically it's saying if I don't set up the campaign properly, it can charge me up to 75 cents. That's my default bid. Let's make it what I said. Was it 20 cents? Okay. And let's save that. Okay. And then I know it's not going to accidentally start bidding a lot of money. As I say, I am bidding low, really low. And that's okay because I'm just testing it out. Where did I go? Where's my ad group? Where's my search terms? Where's my targeting? Where's my targeting? Okay. So I've got my targeting over here and I've got this one book and I thought, you know what? There's this other book I'm thinking of that I really love. Ooh, there's a couple more I'm thinking of. But look, so I love this book. And then there's this other book. Now, it's not very well known, but I think it's really great. And it's called Fear by Thich Nhat Hanh. Okay, so Essential Wisdom for Getting to the Storm. Great book, right? So what am I going to do is I'm going to probably add this one as well. So let's go to the Kindle edition. I mean, you can see my Kindle edition is really cheap, and maybe that's a problem because it looks cheap. So let's go for the Kindle, and we're going to get the ASIN here, and I'm going to go back over. I haven't actually read this book, so this is, you know, I might, but I've read the beginning of it, and then I was like, he's so good, but mine is like a different approach to it. I have studied with Thich Nhat Hanh, well, not with him personally. Okay, so it's not, hang on, sorry, I did the wrong thing there. Add product targets. All right, so what I'm going to do is go to individual product and I'm going to search and I'm going to put the ASIN in here. Again, what it is I'm not trying to compete with it. What I'm trying to say is, hey, this book, the people who read, you know, this book is in the same sort of milieu as this. So if I was going to a bookshop, I want to put my book, if I could go to a bookshop and I could put my book next to any other book on the bookshelf, what would it be? And so it's Feel the Fear. But this one, so also you can see here, it's got, you know, the bottom of the bid is 40 cents. The other thing is, you've got to remember, so let's save that. And I'm going to use the save. It's very low, but I'm going to put it in there and we're going to see. So that's great because that's going to be people who are interested in Buddhism and this kind of thing. Looking down here, yeah, so you can see this is in Zen philosophy, in Buddhism, in philosophy of Buddhism. So that's great in that these are two books. Now, another book that's been really important to me, oh gosh, I could do this as well. Going to be excited now. Let's go to The Voice of Knowledge. By Don Miguel Ruiz. Now, I love this book. It's great. And I've done a lot of training with Don Miguel Ruiz. So it's kind of, I know that my stuff is appropriate. You know, it's appropriate in this area. So I go to the Kindle edition. Again, I'm looking at all these and they're all $7.99 and I think my book's too cheap. So I think I might go back and change my book pricing. So this is really good. You could buy all this books. That's great. So I just want to look down, and again, you can you see that a lot of those books look the same, possibly the same ones as we saw elsewhere. And I can go down. I want to get the ASIN. I love this book. It's a great one, right? And it's in psychological counselling. Oh, great, yeah. So that is again. So my book is. I'm not a psychologist, but people who are trying to figure out what's going on, right? So I'm trying to get back to my Amazon thing. There we go. Got it. All right. So let me add one more. And the other thing is I can actually add, and I quite like this. I'm just going to add this, but I can, if I think of anything else, I can just add the product target. So I want to add product target, and then I'm going to go and change the name of the price of my book because it's too cheap, and it's not giving me the flexibility to it's not giving me the flexibility. Oh, look at that. So that's a really good price there. So I can, if I set my bid to, and also because I have done an apprenticeship with Don Miguel Ruiz. So um, the work that I do is again in that sort of family. So people who speak the language are gonna, and you can see if I set my bid at 20 cents, don't forget I've allowed dynamic bidding, so it's going to go up to 40. I've allowed business bidding, it's going to go up to 50. So there's a really good chance that's going to show. All right, so I'm going to add that product target. Great stuff. I'm really happy with it. I feel happy about this campaign. All right. So I'm actually going to go over, I'll do this very quickly. I need to go into my author page. I've set up the campaign, it is checking, but I don't have enough money from any sales to pay for this. So I need to increase the price of my book. Also, I think I probably decreased it during COVID because I wanted people to be able to access things cheaply. All right, so my Kindle ebook, let's have a look. So I'll go over here and I'm just going to change my ebook pricing. Oh, it's a long video, I know. And I think the thing is this is actually one of the easiest campaigns I've set up. So, all right, so let's look at the pricing. How does pricing logics work? So when you look at this, your 35 and 70, it's very hard to understand why you have a choice between 35 and 70. So things like if your public domain work, you can't be 70%. It used to be quite different, and you had to be in KDP. You had to be in KDP Select to get the 70%, I believe. I seem to remember. So we were quite limited there. So here we go. I have chosen 70%. So it's not allowing me to expand it. Oh, okay. So if I go over here, I can get. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't seem to have expanded distribution. That's why. Oh, that was for the paperback. Sorry. So it's my iBook, my ebook. Whoa, right. Okay. Oh, I've just remembered something, which is with your ebooks, you have with Amazon, you have to keep the same price on here as you do on Lulu. So if I have this book, so it's not exclusive to Amazon, it's available also via Lulu. So what that means is I have to keep the price consistent. So it means if I change the price on here, I've got to go back and change the price on Lulu. So I will do that, but I'm not going to do that right now. So I'm actually just going to come out of here. Don't worry. And leave that change behind. Okay, but this is the kind of thing you have. It's a world, and you've changed one thing and then you change another. So it's a bit like when you do your house and you move the furniture around and you move it and then you have to move that. So let's just leave this quite simple. All right. Now what I want to do is, so that's a whole campaign set up. That's going to run on there. It's 20 cents. I'm not charging enough money. I know I'm not charging enough money. So I will probably go back and change the pricing, but I'm going to sit down with a piece of paper and a pen and maybe review a couple of titles. I might change the pricing across the paperback and the hardback as well, for this title, Fear of Success. All right, but at the moment I'm bidding 20 cents. I can spend a maximum of $2 a day. So if it takes me a week to do it takes me 5 days to change the pricing. Excuse me, the most I can lose is $10. And that's fine to just see if it's even going to show up, if it's even going to run. But the one thing I have shown, one good thing about doing it this way and looking at other books is I'm looking at them, I'm going, my book is too cheap. It is too cheap because I'm not giving myself any budget for advertising, and also it looks cheap. So people are going to look at it and go, well, and some people complain that Kindle books are too expensive, but this is why. But it's difficult. It's a choice of like, am I doing it or am I not gonna get any budget, any sales at all? So that's fine. And what I want to do is I want to go over. Let's go back to all campaigns, and very quickly I just want to show you. I keep saying my campaigns are bored. Oh, I've already updated it. Go away. Right. Okay. Let's just look really quickly. I don't want to do that. Let's just go up. Sometimes it's like the home page. Let's go and click up here. Let's go and click over here. No, it's going to do that. So this is a multi-country experience. I can see all the countries, or I can go back to a single country experience, which I can't bother to, but you can see all the different campaigns that I've run in the past. Actually, let's have a quick look at that, because this is going to help you see. So meditation paperback. So you can see where it says active here. So where it says active over here, this one's active. Okay, all of these are not. Look at that, 242 ad campaigns that I've done at different times. Okay, 242, for goodness sake. And all it means is I've gone in and you set it up and you play with it and you do another one. So this would be probably the last one. Here we go. So this was one to sell meditation. Well, that's my top seller. Okay, so meditation for angry people. So if I look at, so that's the bid adjustments. Did I have any? Not really, no. No, it's fine. Didn't have business placement back then. So let's go to campaign settings. So you can see it was very similar. This is a UK one. You can see because it's set in pounds, £2.49. Down only, da 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 da. And where is my actual campaign? I want to see. Okay, there we go. So you'll see, oh, it's saying it's active now. I don't want it to be active. I'm going to switch it off in a second. So the default bid would have been 46 pennies. And what you find is if you go and target keywords particularly, you might find a big difference between when you're using a paperback or, oh, it's not approved. I pause this campaign. Oh, my ad is suspended as it does not satisfy ad policy requirements. No, I suspended it. But it will probably be suspended because they've brought new stuff in. So don't worry too much if you see red things. It just means that they've changed something. Let's see. So this would be, oh no, I'm going the wrong way. Okay. So it's not approved, it's not active. But what I want to do is, so look at the targeting, I just want to show you what I would have done. So you can see here, and basically where we chose, I chose Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway as a comparison product. I want to sit on the bookshelf next to this. What I'm doing here is, this was me going through the keywords. Okay, come on, move. So I've got 33 keywords in here, which isn't that many because sometimes, sometimes people do thousands of keywords. So I've chosen meditation for angry people, which is kind of silly because, that's the title of the book, so sharp anyway. Overcoming anger and irritability, how to control your anger. And you can see each one has a different suggested bid. The match type is broad, which means that if somebody puts in something similar, it's going to show my ad. Again, you can see it's all paused, and I set up a bid of about 41 pence. Anger management for women, 135. That's a very popular bid. How to control your anger, 45 pence, So when I did that, if any time somebody was searching for this on Amazon, it would show up this, my book, provided that my bid was the best bid. Anger management books for men. I'm not sexist, I do it for both. And the way I find these, you find these keywords is either because it suggests them, or when you're searching for a book, so go to Amazon, this is quite a handy tip, go over to books, and so I might say, okay, I think this is a good search word, which is calming down. So I might put in the word calm knowing, calm carry, calm and clear. So it's going to suggest popular search terms, and then I can use those. So what I would say, let me say anger. If I go into anger, it's going to get anger management books. So anger management would be a really good keyword for my book, Meditation for Angry People. But I'm not going to promote that today. I'm not feeling it. I've just thought I'd just try Fear of Success. And this is what happens is you go in, you set up a ad campaign, and then you go, I need to increase the cost of my book to pay for this. Okay. Which is why books become so expensive, because we're paying Amazon and they get paid for the advertising and then they also get paid for selling the book. So there you go. But I want to make sure that this campaign is not working. Let's go over here. I click on the top. All right, so it's going to show me all campaigns. It keeps telling me my campaigns are. So yeah, meditation, it's not active. So I've got heroine 1. So that's based on the fact that Susan Jeffers is kind of a heroine of mine. And I've done that, set that up. Oh, it's delivering already. There we go. So your campaign is delivering. Ads in this campaign with delivering status are eligible for impressions. Okay, so that's already running. As you can see, this big warning up over here is just having a glitch. So don't worry about that. And if things come up as right red, most important thing, set your daily budget. So we stop that there. And I think my work on Amazon advertising is done for today. So you can see it's a lot of work and get very intense. You can go down the rabbit hole and spend hours there, and it's not like it's not something that I was enjoying doing when my head was quite bad and I was like, I can't manage Amazon advertising, so I just switched it all off. So, but I think I always felt a bit ick about targeting other products, on there. And I guess I just feel okay about it now. Probably because I think if I was, physical bookshop, I would want my books to be sitting on that shelf next to theirs. And also what I quite like is if I'm targeting books, very popular and famous books by authors who I know and love, and have referenced in my book, and they're talking about fear, I think it's a very natural progression for the reader, somebody who isn't afraid of the word fear, to sort of go, oh, do I have a fear? Can I go in? Can I learn about that? So, yeah, there's definitely other books that could be potential. But I think it's the first time I've done a sort of like choose a target, a product. So I don't know if that's going to work. One thing I do know is I think I do have to go and increase my prices. And what I've learned this morning going over it is really how much, COVID really kicked my bottom in terms of the books and publishing and everything else there. And also how naughty Amazon is with their axes on their charts. So, if you're looking in and you kind of go, well, why is this not really working? I'm not really seeing the profit. It's because they put it on a different axis to make it look like you're actually doing well when you're not really doing very well. So and I would say it's really like gambling and like stocks and shares. If you make money, then by all means reinvest it into Amazon advertising. If you lose money, think carefully about throwing good money after bad. But the most important thing I see, if you can see from that chart about what happened with COVID, is it would be, part of you would say, right, and it's like any scam in the world, and I'm not calling Amazon a scam, but it's like, right, spend $30, make 60, the next month you put in 60 and you make 120. But if you look at it that way, you're putting every cent back into the advertising. So I think set a budget, think about it, and also think about, is it okay if you spend more than you make on the books? If, for example, you have a business and you're targeting business customers, that might be really good at advertising in terms of an Amazon business. People are fine, when people have classified themselves as a business customer, you're actually spending a little bit more to get on their radar and get on their screen. Is that worth it? And what's quite nice is, if you think about it, you could basically be doing quite a big advertising campaign for what you're doing, and it can basically be break even because you're making the money on the books, which is pretty good, because if you're going out leafleting, say, or spending money on other advertising, that money would be going out. Whereas with this, people are actually paying to read all about you. Yeah, and that's quite nice. All right, take care. Don't forget, I do publishing consultancy, and also I've got a section I'm going to be doing. So Roshanara, I'll put the link in here. I'm going to be putting some writing tools and things. So we're going to have we've got a copyright, just a 3-pager on copy. It's not even 3 pages, it's 2.5 pages on copyright and fair use guidance, which is really useful. I've got a boilerplate, so if you want to, that thing at the beginning of your book where you say this is copyright, blah 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 blah, I've got it in there. I'll think of what else I've created for people before, because I might as well put it on Roshanara. Roshanara is a free to access platform, which is an online retreat. You can go and relax and chill out. And we've got a writers in residence room now, so I'll be putting a link to this video and other videos there, so you can kind of do this. And this is the kind of thing, you don't have to pay me to do an hour with me on Amazon advertising, and you can go back and rewind and look at it. But if you do want to do a campaign and you get stuck, give me a shout and we can book an hour where we can sit down together and go through it. Okay. Anything in the process of publishing, or travel, fitness, or just life itself. If you need some help, I am available. I am expensive. No, I'm not expensive. I might put my rate card onto the Roshanara under Writers in Residence as well. And I'm kind of changing my prices because I'm charging more. But what it is I want to do more of like just helping you with that like 1 hour. Because when I do consultancy and help somebody publish their book, and I do a lot of it for them, it pretty much always ends up being about £3,500, £5,000 in total to help somebody to publish a book, which is about the same or cheaper than most packages that you can buy. If you buy a package to do the whole thing, it's going to cost thousands of pounds. Whereas if I can support and encourage you to do as much of it as possible for yourselves, then you can just get me for that hour when it's something that you're really struggling with. Whether it's just, and often the people really struggle with is just getting started, like just logging in and getting the login, because it keeps asking you to do one-time passwords. And it can be quite scary when it sends you these kind of things, like saying, oh, you've got to do this, oh, you haven't done that. But millions of people buy stuff through Amazon, so eventually you get there and it will figure out, but we get glitches. But yeah, if you have any problems, give me a shout, and you can book me for a consulting session. And also, if you've got questions, put them in down here. I'm not going to answer all the questions because, as you can see, it can be very overwhelming and involved. So I would say if you sit down and maybe do 20 minutes, just go break it down, go set up your payment information, go, the thing I find is that it doesn't save campaigns particularly well. So I usually try and do the campaign in one go, but you can go in and you could write down keywords, you can do that little search and, just find a couple of keywords that are popular and see what happens. And it usually tell you which ones are appropriate, because the more appropriate your book is and your keyword is, the cheaper the bid price. So you really want it, but it's different, because when I first started, I think a lot of keywords would be 6 cents or something like that, and now you're looking at say 60. So it's a different ball game. But I think for me, putting stuff next to a product is a lot easier than finding lots of keywords, because basically it means that they've already done the work. People are on their page and they're like, oh, okay, you might like this book too. If you like this, you might like that. So anyway, I hope Susan Jeffers doesn't mind. I think she'll be okay with it. Okay. Take care, lots of love, and happy publishing.